Live from Grand Forks, North Dakota, at the beautiful campus of the University of North Dakota. It always works a little better with the MSW students. Thanks. Nice to see you all. Hi. It's the Social Work Department's 2022 graduation. Welcome, class of 2022. Go ahead and have a seat. Hello, my name is Brett, and I have the honor of being the chair of the University of North Dakota's Social Work Department in the College of Nursing and Professional Developments. Welcome. As this is a social work event, and as our profession provides the majority of mental health services across the United States and Canada, I'd like to take a moment to speak about, and wish me luck here, paraskevidekatriophobia. I think I pulled it off. This is, of course, a combination, this is a combination of two phobias, a fear of Fridays and a fear of the number 13. For those trying to get over their fear of Friday the 13th, as a professional social worker and social work educator, let me suggest that you just pretend it's like any other day over the last 2 years. And that joke went a little better this time as well. Graduates, welcome and congratulations. You've worked hard to get to this day. I know, because I've been working with some of you for a few years now. Friends and family of these graduates, welcome and congratulations to you also. Hopefully some of the burden will be lifted from all of the work that you've been engaged in helping these folks to this moment. In fact, even though you just sat down, let me ask you to stand up again for a moment, if you would, and turn around, both our students here, graduates here in the room, and also those of you online, and where possible, maybe catch the eye, or in cases where that's not possible, simply take a moment to remember all those who have been a part of your journey to this moment. You can go ahead and sit down now. While we encourage graduates, their families, and faculty to attend the university graduation ceremony that will be held tomorrow at 9 a.m. at the Alerus Center, and I hope in the meantime you'll enjoy our fine eating establishments and other accommodations here in town. While all of that will happen tomorrow, these department ceremonies are meant to be far less formal and more intimate. And so there's some snacks at the back. Feel free, you can get up now if you want and help yourself at any time. If there are young ones here joining us today who need to get up and move around, that's absolutely fine. And I promise that we'll make lots of room and time for photos later on in the ceremony. So the important part of this is not us who are up here speaking, although there's a couple folks that we'll want to pay attention to. This is really for you. So thanks for being here today. Let me take a moment. I want to offer some comments of appreciation. First, Brent, as some of you already know, thanks for your work on putting this together and for encouraging me to do the Friday the 13th joke. Matt and the rest of your team, thanks for all the setup, for all the work, for being here for a rehearsal. It was like a wedding rehearsal this morning, and things went fantastically well with the earlier ceremony. Nice work? Yes? Okay. Making a nice ceremony for those of us in the room and for all of you online. Hello there. Vahufu Sawaga, you've been helping us with these graduation ceremonies for close to a decade now, maybe more. I'm not really sure. Has anyone actually added? How long do you know? How long have you been doing this? Long time. The Social Work Department is one of the few on campus that runs programs year-round, which means that we have graduation ceremonies at the end of every semester. So you've been a great supporter and friend to the Social Work Department. Thank you. And dear faculty, both those of you who are here in the room with us and for those online, as I mentioned, ours is a year-round program, which means that you have not just the 6 graduation ceremonies hosted by the university, but also 6 department programs. So you get no fewer than 12 opportunities to celebrate each year. Thanks for taking the time to be here. Thanks for taking your time away from your grading. And with a year-round program, many of these folks will be starting teaching summer semester before they've even turned in their grades for spring semester. So thanks for taking the time to be here again today. Also, this was an accreditation year. Our social work programs, the undergraduate BSSW and MSW programs, are both accredited by the Council on Social Work Education, which means that every 8 years we get the joyful endeavor of putting together this huge document describing everything, and I mean everything it is that we do. And the over 1,400 pages basically came down to the conclusion that we need to hire a couple more folks in the department, which means that you've been doing a lot of work, both on a regular basis and during this accreditation year. So thanks for all of that, and thanks for listening to me 2 times in the same day, telling the same stuff here. Also, and most importantly, thanks for all you do for our students, for our profession, for the university, for the state of North Dakota and the region. Last night, Professor Stephanie Homestad and Dr. Kakari and myself attended an orientation for mostly new students who are beginning their MSW program next week. Do you remember the orientation? It was what, 20 years ago or something? Today we're gathered to celebrate the conclusion of studies for this group of scholars and social workers. And I'll tell you, the orientation last night and these graduation ceremonies they're emotional experiences. I get to come up here and I'm kind of comfortable in front of a microphone, but I often choke up at some time. So I'm going to keep it short so that I don't do that. This is an emotional experience. And the idea of an orientation for the start last night and then a graduation as a closing celebration today suggests that there's just fixed beginnings and endings. When in fact, this is as much a beginning for you as it is an ending, a beginning on the next stage of your journey as lifelong learners, a beginning for the next stage of your professional careers. And so thank you. Thanks for letting us be part of that journey. Oh, there it happens. If I start to look at you, then yes. So I'll look up here. Thanks for choosing this profession. Thanks for the hard work that you're taking on to improve the lives and well-being of individuals, families, communities, and larger systems. And with that, I've probably said this to you before, but I'll say it again now. Today, you're both graduates and our colleagues. Congratulations for all your hard work, and thank you for taking on this critically important work. I have one more note of deep appreciation. Thank you, Dean Sjogren, for your support to social work in the College of Nursing and Professional Disciplines. And so if you will, I'd like to invite you up to offer a welcome also.
I think we can get it to work. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much, Dr. Weber. Good afternoon. As Dr. Weber said, my name is Meredith Sjogren, and I currently serve as the interim dean of the College of Nursing and Professional Disciplines, and it is such an honor to be invited to spend this time with you today. It is such an opportunity to celebrate our master's prepared social work graduates who have worked so hard to successfully complete this advanced degree. It is a lot of work, and you have done so well. I personally want to let you know how wonderful I think you all are. I have practiced as a certified nurse midwife for over 22 years, and I have so often reached out to my social work colleagues to help me address a complex concern, to share their expertise about how to best connect my client to local services. They've helped guide me through policies, and I've even had a chance to collaborate with many on educational curricula. Quite simply, I'm amazed at your knowledge and your dedication to the work that you do. Please let me be among the first to congratulate you as you begin your professional journey, and I'm going to thank you now for taking my SOS calls in the future. Congratulations.
So what's going to happen now is I'm going to introduce I'm going to do a mapping thing here right now. I'm going to introduce the program directors and then hand it off to the graduate program director. And we'll be hearing from him, from our student speakers, and then we'll invite you to come up on stage to be hooded. And then you'll walk the gauntlet. All of the faculty will be up here, and you have to shake each of our hands, and we all get to say something nice to you on your way around. First of all, let me introduce Professor Stephanie Homestad. I'm sure you're quite familiar with her, our online program director, a force in the department and a great supporter of these ceremonies. Also, Professor Barb Kitko, our undergraduate program director, who ran the last ceremony about an hour or so ago. Thanks, nice job today, Barb. And Professor Bruce Reeves, if you'd stand up. And Bruce, I keep forgetting the term. I want to say our hallmark pedagogy, but that's not right. Our signature, our field director, and field is the signature pedagogy of social work education. Thank you, Professor Reeves. And with that, I'll hand over the mic to our MSW program director, Professor Dr. Isaac Kakari. Please, Isaac.
Welcome once again to everybody. And I didn't know the podium was mobile concept. So, welcome once again to everybody, and would like to once again recognize Dean Sjogren for gracing this occasion, and also to our chair, Dr. Weber. And he actually gave me two titles, Professor Doctor. It's just one, right? Yeah, so it's good to see all of you, and would also want to recognize, the family that, is here to support you, and the IT team once again. And just, thinking of today, or let me say this, a few hours ago, that was into yesterday, I didn't have my hair cropped, right? But got all this done for you, right? Yeah. But my wife would tell me, Isaac, that is not true. You just want to hide your bald spot, So, yes, but again, we are here to celebrate, all of you. And a quote that comes to mind is from a historical figure, English, who said this in 1675. And it's one of my favorite quotes, Sir Isaac Newton, who said that if I can see further than others, it's because I'm standing on the shoulders of giants. And this is a quote that I think resonates with most, right? Because it captures the contributions many others have made to our success and progress. And you may be thinking of who those others are. It's not just faculty, it's the family as well, including the pets. So even as we give students a round of applause or recognize you, I would want you to do the same for family, right? So students, please be up again if you don't mind, and turn around and give a round of applause to your families. And those of you online, you are not forgotten. I hope you are doing same too. Yes, and I know Nikki has Spanky here. Spanky also deserves a round of applause. And the other reasons why that quote resonates with me, some of you may be able to connect, because it says, standing on the shoulders of giants. If you are VC like me, and VC, you wondering what that means? Vertically challenged, which is what? Short, right? You definitely appreciate being able to stand on the shoulders of giants, right? And if your son is named Atlas, like Soraya, that also makes much sense. So again, with family, thanks for those being here. I know we have Kenzie hiding in the brochure. She definitely helped her mom get through school. We have Ryan, definitely helped his wife get through school as well. We have Stacy and Lydell and Keith, who've also helped, Saraya get through school. And there are many others. I heard Randall, and I know Randall is in the back. He also definitely helped his mom, Jen, get through school as well. So that is to the families. We'll be having 2 guest speakers, and we'll be having a student guest speaker, then faculty guest speaker. And at this point, I'd like to invite Patty Arand to the stage, yes, for the student's speech.
You think that's going to do it? You have no idea how loud I can be. Am I on? And there are my friends. Hi, online Zoomers. Good to see you all again. Hello, my name is Patty Arand, and I'm from the northern Black Hills of South Dakota. And I applied for the MSW program at UND because I'm ready to start again now that my first master's is old enough to drink and has been paid off. That's how many of us have started our journeys together, and we did in January of 2019, saying our names, sharing where we were from, and why we wanted to be Masters of Social Work. As someone whose last name starts with an A, I often had the privilege of starting such introductions or walking in the first and around. I've joked, I will always marry my husband again, next time he takes my name. But the nice thing about being the first was that it gave me some freedom. It meant that once I was done, I could play the comparison game that everybody else was playing. Who's the oldest? Who's the youngest? Who's the most experienced? Who knows how to look good on Zoom? And then came the deeper questions. What am I doing here? Wait, there were applications that weren't accepted? How did mine make it through? This is a fluke. How am I going to make it year-round for 10 semesters? How am I going to pay for it? How on earth will I ever measure up against these amazing people who obviously have their lives together? Just look at them. So focused, so perfect in their little Zoom boxes. Wait, was that a pigeon? Is that a streaking kid? Yikes! Why did I think that this was a good idea? If I don't aspire to drive a Dodge Stratus, or if I'm not biking to work like all the cool social workers, can I even be in this program? Is it too late to drop out? Aren't you glad you didn't? Think about where you were and what you were doing when you started this program. Maybe you were part of the foundations cohort and filling in the gaps left by your missing BSW. Or maybe you were part of the concentration cohort with your BSW and ready to pursue your master's. Now, imagine where you'd be right now if you hadn't applied for the program. Imagine just not ever getting around to it. Where would you be? What would you be doing now? MSW class of 2022, I stand before you today to challenge you with a preposition. I'd say no pun intended, but we all know better. And there's not going to be a mapping sentence, and this isn't going to go anywhere you would hope or wish it would. But that's the beauty of giving me the last chance for the last word. You fools. So we've gathered here to both get into our hoods, back to the preposition, those citron symbols of our academic achievements, and then we're here to get back to our hoods, those neighborhoods and communities that we've been training to serve. But before we do, we need to take a moment and reflect on how hard we've worked to get to this day, and pushed our instructors to get to their own breaking points with our optimism that the APA doesn't really matter and deadlines are merely suggestions for time frames. Now, not only have we worked hard, our families, our friends, and our loved ones have worked just as hard in supporting us to get to this day. Gosh, I honestly don't know if any of us would be here without their support. They put up with erratic tangents about APA citations and something about owls in Peru. They also managed to get in plenty of exercise by being incredibly flexible, by holding us together when we were falling apart, and by standing firm as they kept and keep reminding us that we've got this because they've got us. They've got our backs. You all know who you are. And on behalf of those sitting here or standing here in black gowns, we do thank you. Applaud, people. They're so good, and I see them on the screen doing the right thing. Speaking of those black gowns and standing and sitting, we've certainly had our ups and downs throughout this program, haven't we? We have those moments we will always remember. Study that code of ethics. And it doesn't, nope, not going there. And those we'd happily forget. It was a rough first semester, people. I don't know if you remember, we had a very kind person help us out with our research class. She was teaching 5 of them at the time. That was hard. But here's something I want all of you and the powers that be, get ready to cheer for this one, people. Thank you for offering a distance class that's live. Thank you so much for creating a space for us. I know the sacrifices it took with weird hours to be able to have these synchronous classes. But because of that, you have given us an incredible learning experience. You've kept the social in social work for us. We've put the curse at the end of the social work curse, but that's on us, not on you. Thank you for the social. There is no way without this program that I would have met these fearless, incredible individuals without the program structured as it is. Who would have thought that at the beginning of the pandemic, that the one place we would ever feel normal or at home was during a Zoom class? And who would have thought that this motley crew of students spanning time zones, borders, and life experiences would grow into such a network of resources and support for one another? It's because we got the opportunity to know each other, even through those tiny little boxes on that screen. And knowing that and how I've had the opportunity to know so many, that's why when I look at that list of all those programs, those titles today. Look at the program. Just because they handed in their ISPs, they don't think they have to follow directions anymore. But when you see those projects, those insanely difficult, long projects, when I look at that, I don't just see titles. I see the person and the passion behind the project and why their project matters to them. And because of that, those projects matter to me. When I think about all those projects, those insanely long, tedious, insurmountable projects that always have room for one more detail, Brett. Anyone ever point out your name's a 4-letter word? So is work and love. Thanks isn't that long, but I would shorten it. Hank you for that time. But when I think of those projects and this hooding ceremony, it strangely reminds me of my wedding. This is where you start going, what? Hang in with me. I remember planning and preparing for what seemed like forever in anticipation. This was going to be huge. And then I was there in the middle of the ceremony and I thought, this is it? It's going so fast. I've been waiting so long. And soon it's all going to be over. The wedding, not the marriage, which is amazing considering how much he has put up with since I started this program. But in some ways, this weekend's events are like a wedding, and like any ritual marking a milestone in someone's life. So while it's the end, it is also the beginning. It's circular, kind of like this silly little round piece of wood. A token, really. A token of the journey we've taken and of the one that awaits. Now, my friends who've been stuck with me in class before, do you think you'd get away with me doing something without some sort of visual aid? Thanks, Mom. So, we'll see if you can put this together. We're back to the puns. So when you reflect on the start of your social work journey, think about what it took you to begin. What did it take for you to get around to it? Let that sink in. So once you got around to it, you stumbled across something that was important to you in your journey, and it's something you use with everyone you work with. You help them find that motivation for what is going to get you to get around to it. And once they get around to it, chances are they're going to need to help getting into it. I know it's really hard to see, but there is an in between the two and the it. And when you help them get into it, you get to help them get into that process of change at I'm going for brownie points here, at a micro, meso, and macro level. That's for the social worky types who are as sharp as barbed wire. And then they'll need something and someone there to remind them that they are up to it, that they are up to facing the challenges that await. But guess what? They don't need just anybody. They need you. And now that you've done the work and earned the degree, it's time for you to take hold of this little reminder. Okay, Jen? Sorry, but you said this was informal. There's yours. We got time, right? The last program of the day. Oh, they catch on so fast. Brilliant. I got away from the microphone so nobody can hear what I was saying as I was presenting tokens of go to it, around to it, to the colleagues in the room. Those of you at home, if you DM me, I will send you your own. Did I catch them up? Sorry for messing up the tech. You'll never have me do this again, I can promise. So now, oh, bite your tongue. Bite it now, PhD. Nuh-uh. Nope. So now that you've done the work to earn the degree, and you have that token, I wanted you guys to remember us by something other than paper cuts. So now that you already got around to it, right? Because you all have your round to it. Remember that you really are up to it, and that you truly have fun once you're into it. So now, friends, get down to it. Social workers, get going as you practice the art of listening and the science of hope, which is not really a good mapping sentence, but it is in the program. Congratulations, class of 2022.
Okay. So, and let the church say amen. Because, Patty told me she was, a reverend minister. Yeah, so everything she's drawing on her skills, right? And she's using it in a way that is still very social worky, Yeah, so we'll have our next guest, actually faculty speaker, Professor Kelly Gast. And thanks for the profound. So, yes, thank you.
Oh, okay. Now, hello, can you hear me? Okay. Yes. Hello. Can I take this? Okay. All right. Well, hello, you guys. Sorry, I was rambling, and you've heard me a zillion times already the last few years, and just telling Patty what a great job she did. But welcome on behalf of the faculty and staff here at UND. We're just so glad you're here. It's so fun to see you all. Either in person or on Zoom again, and just such an amazing accomplishment. I know you guys did a beautiful job of talking about families, but I want to echo that. I am still in graduate school, and I think monthly my husband says, "So are we almost done?" I've got it out on the fridge now, summer 2023, I promise I'm done. But I know what a toll it takes. Not only on the physical side, you guys are in class, so you need people to help with meals and rides and driving around kids and all sorts of things, but it also takes, kind of a mental toll, right? We're not always super spunky and happy all the time when we're kind of trying to do all of this. So we really appreciate all the support you've given your students, and I know how proud you guys are of them, but really you should get a little piece of this diploma as well. So. And to you guys, I just think about, I've gotten to spend a lot of time with these guys. We've had, I've done some liaison work when they were in their foundation program. We've certainly had a few different classes together, and then of course I got to spend the last year really trying to drag them along and cheer them along as they manage an internship along with working full-time and families and partners and experiences. So. I hope you take a moment to just realize how huge this is. You're a part of a very small percent of people that have a master's degree, but doing it during a pandemic and during a lot of other divisive kind of times in our country the last few years has been extra stressful on everybody. So for you guys to be able to do this and do this so well, we're really proud. I was trying to think of what to say because obviously, last Thursday or 2 Thursdays ago, I rambled at you guys because it was my last chance. So I feel like I've already kind of used up my speeches, but I was just thinking about a few things that I really wanted you to walk away from this program, and they're a little bit different than what we've heard so far. But thinking about, first is the vulnerability. Sometimes I think, there's this mantra of when you know more, you do better, and I think that's true. When we know more, we do better. But I also think the more you know, sometimes the more you don't know, or the more you feel like you need to know. And so I think, remember that it's really important to be vulnerable. You know, there's this question, are you willing to show up even if you don't know how it'll end? And that's just the essence of social work. Our jobs are to like give and support and guide and educate, but we don't always get to know how it ends, and we don't always get to choose it. And that can be really hard. It can make us feel pretty vulnerable. It can make us kind of get knocked down. And it's important that we just keep showing up. So don't ever stop learning. You never know if you're going to get your doctorate someday, I promise you. I was in your shoes a long time ago as well, but stay curious, keep learning, and just remember that our clients value our own vulnerability, that we're human too. Barb talked about Brene Brown earlier. I feel like she would have done such a better job up here than me, but we don't get her, unfortunately. But Brene Brown is a world-renowned researcher on vulnerability and shame. She's also a social worker, so we love her even more. But she has this beautiful quote, and it's long, but I'm going to read it. Empathy has no script. There's no right or wrong way to do it. It's simply listening, holding space, withholding judgment, emotionally connecting, and communicating that incredibly healing message of, you're not alone. I think about that and the gift that we get to give our clients. You know, so many professions and so many disciplines, even similar ones to our own, have a really kind of pretty important purpose, but it's to fix. And sometimes our job is to sit. And, you know, instead of trying to drag someone out of the darkness, we sit with them. And with that becomes, you know, can be really hard work. And so just remembering that we bring an empathetic kind of being to ourselves, it's just who we are, but it's extremely important when you're working with teams and when you're working with clients. And so I think, while it's hard, it's a privilege to sit when someone's at their lowest. And the last thing is relationships. You know, you talked about this, but I think about the relationships that you guys make with each other. I think about that we've been able to make with you all, and how valuable relationships are to clients. We talk, you know me, I'm a pretty big evidence-based treatment gal, right? I like to push my stuff onto you guys in terms of that, but nothing matters if we don't have a relationship. And so always remember that when you're working with a client, if the relationship's there, then get fancy. Do some TFCBT work or some EMDR work or whatever you're trained in. But if the relationship isn't there, that's where you start. And remind that for kids. That's the same with parents, and it's the same with teachers, and same with nursing home aides. Relationships matter. And Bruce Perry, who y'all know I love, said, relationships are the agent of change, and the most powerful therapy is human love. And again, I think that's the beauty of social work. We get to love others in very ethically boundary sound ways. But we get that extra piece, and I think that's what I know that for me. I tell people all the time, there's not many jobs that you get to just wake up and feel like you were meant to do that work, and we get to be that way. So lastly, because this is like the speech of quotes, I felt like that was a good plan, since I'm not usually super organized, and so I wrote some things down today. But I want to leave you with this quote from President Obama, and I think this is so vital and perfect for this time of our lives. But he says, change will not come if we wait for the other person, or if we wait for some other time. We are the ones we've been waiting for. We are the change that we seek. You guys are absolutely the ones we've been waiting for. And we're so proud of you. And Brett, I probably am going to cry, because these guys mean a lot to me. But just know we're here for you guys. We want to hear from you, and we want to hear how things are going. And we just know you're going to do amazing things in the world. So congrats and thank you.
Okay. So if you've noticed, anytime I'm coming up, I tag, the gown up, right? It's not to give me a lift, it's to just avoid tripping. Yeah, so just like, Professor Gast ended, and thanks for your speech, and Patty, thanks for yours again. It's great hearing these surreal things, right? It's great hearing these surreal things and having this moment. We now she said something in her final quote that you are the ones we are waiting for, and now we are getting to the moment, we've all been waiting for. Yep. Which is what? The who then, right? And I'm glad, we get to this part and we talk of who then, and it's with this, right? Yep. So we'll be calling out, each student and what their research was or is, and the advisor as well, and would have our faculty, circle to the left or to my left, right? And as you come up the ramp, your advisor will do the hoodin, then you get the honorable, handshake from each faculty. Yeah. So if our faculty could please do us the honor of, it's really not a circle, it's like an arch. So. And for our students online, your hoodin is going to be virtual. So it's going to be the e-hoodin, and you'd see how the faculty do it as well. So yeah, so we'll start, and we'll want to read this about our program before we get to the students. And our Master of Social Work program, it's an advanced, generalist program, which has been fully accredited by the Council of Social Work Education since 1998. I was going to say 1988, but it's actually 1998. And in 2005, the Department of Social Work, which is a long-time pioneer in delivering social work education to distance students throughout the state, launched an innovative distance program using video conferencing technology. And now we see that basically in the form of, Zoom. And I know Patty had referenced it, Professor Weber also referenced it as well. And our program has been an award-winning program, for I would say multiple years now. And we are glad to be celebrating our students. And even as we talk about the nature of our program being distance, I'll be remiss if I don't mention the name of Professor Carol Schwaniweiss. If I were to go German, it would be Schwaniweiss, but it's now anglicized, so Schwaniweiss. So Professor Carol Schwaniweiss, who actually laid the foundations for this. Some of you may remember her, not everybody may know her, but it's good to have her name mentioned again, right? So we are very grateful to her. So now, I'm sure some of you are wondering, is it cut to the chase? Nothing else, yes, and I'll do that, I'll oblige. So we'll start. Our first student is Patty Arand. And the title of Patty's project was Through Rose-Colored Glasses, Viewing Adolescent Mental Health Problems Through the Lens of Ambiguous Loss and Disenfranchised Grief. Her advisor was Professor Weber. Yeah.
Thank you. I watched the video. It made nothing.
So our next graduate is, so pictures.
Did we get a picture? Do you need another picture? We're good.
Good. So feel free to come up to get a picture. Yes. Okay. Our next graduate is Anna Krause. And Anna, I know, is online. The title of Anna's project was Problematic Social Network Site Use Among Adults, an overview with recommendations for educational courses. And her advisor was Professor Yiping Shea. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So now you all know the e-hoodin I was talking about, right? Yeah. Okay. Our next graduate is Saraya David. Yeah. The title of Saraya's project was The Role of Social Inclusion and Relationships in Preventing Recidivism of Former Prisoners. Her advisor, Professor Shana Eban. Stacy and Keith, please feel free to come forward. Yeah, okay. And our next graduate, Kirsten Densley, is also online. The title of Kirsten's project was Addressing the Negative Mental and Emotional Impact of Media on Youth and Exploring Positive Preventative Measures to be Utilized in School Systems. Her advisor, Professor Leah Sega-Laser. Yeah. Our next graduate, Kristen Evans. The title of her project, Addressing Nicotine Dependence to Enhance Treatment Outcomes. Her advisor, Professor Vince Lindgren. Our next graduate is Stephanie Foyle, and I know Stephanie is online. The title of Stephanie's project, Immigration in the U.S., a Social Work Response. Stephanie's advisor, so we'll wait a bit, don't worry. Yeah. No. Yeah.
Oh, it's Stephanie Hay.
So our next graduate is Heidi Gainey, and the title of Heidi's project, The Connection Between Poor Attachment in Childhood and Interpersonal Violence in Adult Relationships. Yes, her advisor, Professor Shana Eban. Our next graduate is Amy Langan. The title of Amy's project, Exploring the Theory of Intergenerational Trauma and its Effects Among Native American Communities. Her advisor, Professor Yiping Shea. I think, yeah, still. Okay. Our next graduate is Sarah Lehman. The title of Sarah's project, Vaping Epidemic in Youth. Her advisor, Professor Kelly Gast. Keegan, did you get a picture? Okay, good. Our next graduate is Nicole Marosek. The title of Nicole's project, Climate Change, a Social Work Perspective. And Nicole's advisor, Professor Vince Lindgren. I believe Nicole is online. Okay, I don't think so. Yeah, she's not. But we could still do the virtual hooding. Yeah. So. Our next graduate is Asia Reddy. Is Asia online as well? Okay. Yes. The title of Asia's project, An Examination and Development of a Family Group Decision-Making Evaluation Tool for Homestead County. And her advisor, Professor Homestead. Yeah. Our next graduate is Darcy Weber. The title of Darcy's project, Divorce and Emotional and Behavioral Distress in Children, Adolescents and Families. Her advisor, Professor Shana Eban. Yeah. Right, yes. Okay. Our next graduate is Tiara Sackman. The title of Tiara's project is Suicide Training for Intensive Residential Treatment Service Program. Her advisor, Professor Jenny Schlinger. Professor Schlinger is online. Yes. Okay. Yep. Our next graduate is Dana Sedlinger. The title of Dana's project, Juvenile Sexual Offenders and the Use of Attachment Theory in Treatment. Her advisor, Professor Eban. Yeah. Ashley, it's your turn. Our next graduate is Ashley Stafford. The title of Ashley's project, The Importance of Prenatal Providers to Screen for Eating Disorders, a Training for Providers. Her advisor, Professor Craig Burns. Our next graduate is Alison Stensland Salveson, and the title of Alison's project is The Importance of Social Workers at Williston Basin School District 7 and Alternative Funding Opportunities. Her advisor, Professor Lindgren. And our next graduate is Nikki Vlasic, and the title of Nikki's project, School Social Workers and the Benefit to Children's Mental Health. Grant to add social workers in Chisholm Public Schools. Her advisor, Professor Gast. Yep. We're gonna walk the. Yep. I don't know if Spanky would want to come here again, because Spanky was waiting for a handshake and nobody, yeah. Because he was lifting his head every time, right? So our next graduate is Lacey Wendhold. The title of Lacey's project, Utilizing a Trauma-Informed Approach with Incarcerated Women. Her advisor, Professor Lindgren. Our next graduate, Mandy Versinger. The title of Mandy's project, Foster Parent Retention and Recruitment Tactics. Her advisor, Professor Lindgren. Our next graduate is Melinda Wickland. The title of Melinda's project, The Psychological Effects of a Cancer Diagnosis on Adolescents when a Parent is Diagnosed with Cancer. Her advisor, Professor Reeves. Our next graduate is Jen Williams. The title of Jen's project, Improving Healthcare Outcomes for Transgender and Gender Non-Conforming Individuals, a review of the literature. Her advisor, Professor Burns. And last but not the least, we have our next graduate, Christy Keller. And Christy's research proposal was harm reduction practices in rural domestic violence shelters. Her advisor, Professor Junior Kim. And at this point, I'll please ask faculty to sit down. But before they do so, I think they deserve a round of applause, honestly. And I know we'll be closing the program and families, faculty, everybody, we get the opportunity to take pictures. I'll be calling on our online or distance education director, Professor Homestead, to give their closing remarks. So.
Is it? Okay, so this is new to me. I did not know I would be speaking this time, but you adapt and you improvise, right? Who did I say that to? Somebody, when we couldn't get our hoods on time. That's why I'm not wearing one, because I took mine off and borrowed it to somebody today. And that's what you're going to have to do in this field. You're going to have to adapt and improvise, sometimes do things that are taking the shirt off your own back to help people. So with that, I'm not going to go into too much closing remarks. We're so happy that you guys chose our program. We couldn't be more proud of you. And as we are done with this ceremony, we're going to ask that you guys take a group photo for us, so that we can post it and share it on social media, and you guys can all have a good picture. But we're going to ask you to leave before everybody else so we can get you lined up on the staircase and get a really good picture of you. So thank you, everybody, for coming. There's still some cookies and some drinks in the back, so please eat up on your way out. All right, thank you.